So here it is, the first project to start and the last project to end, the Kestrel 4000 Superlight time trial bike. This one's built up with a mixture of 3T, SRAM, SRM crank, and an ISM saddle. I'll go into a little bit of the details of what makes this bike so special. You see we have a 88 depth front tubular wheel here, DT Swiss hub. Go back, we got a Karima rear disc, both Vittoria tubulars. SRM crank, we're running a 5442 combination here on the front. SRAM force front and rear derailleurs, giving you the little more strength with the front SRAM force derailleur over the red with some of the power you can be dealing with on a TT bike, just making sure those shifts are always consistent. You can see kind of the profile of the tubing here. This is supposed to be one of the most aero bikes out there. Teammate who's done some testing and actually was the first to buy one of these, the guys that I know, did some testing with it and said that it outperformed both his Cervelo P3 and his Ridley as far as TT bikes go. So those are some pretty spectacular numbers. This bike was not without its complications in building. If you've seen the old TT bike, the BMC that I had before, I was using a 3T Von Tooss integrated stem TT bar that was super aerodynamic, probably the most aerodynamic thing out there, so much so it's even UCI illegal. Definitely the most comfortable set of bars I've used as well. Same extensions on this bike, just different bars. The issue became with the Von Tooss, the stem has a little airfoil that extends beyond the steerer tube, and actually how you can see that the cables enter right in behind the steerer on this bike, and that little airfoil covered over that entrance made the routing just about impossible. The thing I like about the 3T bars is that it allows you to drop that stem right on the top of the headset and then independently elevate your elbow pads and extensions, which elevate together to get your stack, but still keeping your base bar at the lowest possible position. What I'm using here is some Blackwell research, or now they can pretty much be found under John Cobb wrist relief extensions. Tried the standard S bend extensions for a while, but just found that it seemed to really torque on my wrist, and after a 40K TT it was having issues with some of the tendons in my wrist, so I went with these, and these have been absolutely fantastic. Since we're using the 3T Brezza 2 limited bar on this one, and a 3T stem, we does not have the integrated levers that the Von Tooss had, so we're going with some SRAM brake levers here, which are nice spring-loaded levers. So it gives a real good feel, nice crisp return action. You can see here that we go ahead and stack these bars down on the lowest possible setting. Move the elbow pads as close as we can together to get a more aero position. Running here some SRAM R2C shifters. These things are pretty amazing, whereas in a normal TT shifter, the shifter moves up or down and holds that position while you're in that gear. These will actually, as you'll see here, shift and then return back. Return back. These can actually shift up to 3 gears at one time with a longer push and hold. And you can see, hopefully here in the lights, little lines to indicate what gear you're in. Cable running, this is where it got pretty funky with this bike. The cable running is very nice, but you'll notice right off the bat that there's a mixture of no-con here on the brake, and then your standard jag wires on the derailleurs. The issue becomes here is that the derailleur cables actually, housing runs into the bike, down into the frame, and it looks like a sheath down into the frame for where it's supposed to go. Now the no-con housing here will not fit down into that sheath, but it needs to have a solid piece to go all the way through down, especially for the rear derailleur, in order to maintain constant friction, or I should say a constant lack of friction, so the cable's not binding. So this is actually one solid piece coming all the way back from up here in the top. So if I actually were to pull this up, it would shorten it down in the back. Another thing I'm trying new for this bike is these ISM Adamo Racing 2 saddle. You pull up on this view, you immediately notice this is very different than your normal saddle. Normal TT saddles, I tend to, after about 40K, get some significant chafing in the nether regions, making it almost impossible to do another time trial the day afterwards. This bike, the saddle position is very different, where actually these nose pieces, instead of sitting normally where they would on a normal saddle on the TT position, actually each sit bone goes on each place, so you're almost hanging over the front of the saddle. So the saddle looks like it's kind of set back for a normal TT position, but in reality you're just missing where the nose would normally come out to here. You're missing that portion, and it just kind of cuts off the edge. So far riding on it, it's been fantastic. It does take a little getting used to because just a little bit different pressure on it, but no chafing, no soreness the day after. Looks like something that could be repeatable to be able to get in the TT position for multiple days for a decent amount of time. Another really great feature of this bike is you'll see a lot of TT bikes have horizontal dropouts in order to get the wheel as close as possible to the tube here. But one of the great features this Kestrel has is it actually has vertical dropouts, which make putting on or removing the rear wheel very easy. But you can see these two screws here, and there's a matching set on the other side. There's actually a piece on the inside of this stay here that this piece here, this dropout piece, will slide forward and back, and then can be locked down into position with these two, thereby letting you drop the wheel in and then slide this whole wheel as close as you want to this tube here, so to maintain aero while still giving enough room for any kind of debris or anything to go without scratching up the inside of your frame. This makes removing a wheel and making wheel changes much easier, and while still being able to maintain a good aerodynamic position. So on this bike, like I said, once you figure out the cabling on it, running some no-cons maybe for the brakes just to kind of keep that clean as possible. You do have to use some type of Jaguar or something like that in order to get the consistent pull all the way through and smooth shifting. Right over here we have the little SRM mount, be able to mount that back in right behind the elbow pads here. So that's the breakdown on the bike here. So looking forward to getting out and doing some time trials on it and see what kind of numbers we got. There's definitely a local time trial series, and hopefully going to go do some of the other series around the state and see how it all works out. But very excited about the machine and the ride so far. It's felt fantastic. I actually went with a size 57, which is slightly larger than the 56 frame I had before. But with the position and everything on it, I actually still feel very stretched out without being overly stretched out, and comfortable so far. One other note on this, the tape you may notice looks a little bit different than your normal handlebar tape, and that's because it's not handlebar tape. It is actually tennis wrap. Works very well, stays low profile, and has great feel to it. A little cushy, but again without being bulky. So another different feature we're trying out on this one. Little thing on here, you can see the brakes on this are the TRP brakes, which almost look like the same kind of setup as cross brakes, with the cable dropping down in. The quick release, squeeze together. You can do it here with one hand or not. This little piece pops out. Open up the brake. You slide your wheel in and out, and just squeeze it back together. Slide it back, and you got it again. These little pieces cover over your bolts. It's got a nice, very aero profile. Tests have said so far that the brake out front here with this style brake isn't supposed to be any less aerodynamic than the brake mounted behind the fork. But I don't know if the numbers. And then the rear brake here, which will actually come back around on the rear wheel. And you can actually see the rear brake. Hopefully you can see in the shadows here. It's actually tucked in right here, back behind the rear wheel. And it's actually the same style, the cable pulling, the same quick release there. So that's a lot of the features on this bike. Again, this looks like a bike with some great numbers, and I look forward to racing it, get some more time on it, and hopefully putting up some new personal best. Thanks.